I want to talk to y'all for a minute. If you get a chance, go check out MREinfo.com. It's one of the best places in the world to get information about rations. I'm embarrassed to say I used the site as a reference for years before I even discovered they had a forum, and I missed out on so much because of that. I also want to tell you, if you get a chance, check out some of the other reviewers. Everybody knows Gundog. Everybody knows Kiwi. Everybody knows Steve. It's because Steve rocks. Gundog's awesome. G. Schultz is a great guy. Kiwi's awesome, especially with the boss. But also check out Black Dog Bob. I mean, he's got some really good videos. Sticky Fingers 79. He does some awesome reviews. Paul Buikema, he does some excellent work. And he, not only does some rations, he also gets into some of the camping gear. Well, there's a lot more reviewers out there. Check them out. I mean, they're great. And if you ever want to find out what's going on with me, I've got a Facebook page now. Facebook.com/TheOrlando. Of course, you know about the YouTube channel if you're watching this. But I did want to talk to you about something. See, I love doing the ration videos. I really do. I got started in rations when I was trying to get in the Army. Unfortunately, medically couldn't make it. But, still tried, worked with the recruiting sergeants. I can still remember sitting by that fire that night, opening up that brown bag, having to slice it with my pocket knife because the darn thing wouldn't tear. Pulling out that thing of diced beef with gravy, all the little extras that came with it, the coffee, the freeze-dried fruit. I mean, I was a Boy Scout growing up, and in our Boy Scout time, we had a good scoutmaster that was straightforward. If you were going to be a scout, you had to be responsible for your own food. And, years of carrying around, cans of food and, all of that, keeping your mess kit handy, all that fun stuff. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I got one of the best things in my life out of it. It's one of my cast iron pans I've had for over 30 years. Well, no, right at 30 years. I think I was either 10 or 11 when Mom gave it to me, and I'm 40 now. So, and that thing has been cooked in fires. It has, been in the ovens. It has been on grills. That's one thing I will never get rid of. The day I die, somebody can have it then. Until then, that thing is mine. But that's one of the things about it. I love rations. And I come from a strong military family. My great-grandfather was in World War I. My grandfather was in World War II. My dad was in Vietnam. I had two uncles in Vietnam. What they did, I couldn't tell you because nobody ever talked about it. The only thing I know is supposedly my two uncles may have met because they were both Green Berets. I'm not sure. My dad, I know at one point he talked about, humping through the bush, so probably it means he was infantry. But I also know at one point he was talking about baking cakes in the Army, so leads me to believe he spent some time in the kitchen. Now, whether it was a cook or a KP, we don't know. Because they never talked about it. And unfortunately, Dad's gone now, so I can't really ask him. I did not realize how deep cooking was in my blood. I mean, Mom always cooked. She was a big-time cook. We used to cater weddings and stuff for local family members. She loved baking. Well, Mom recently passed away. And in going through her stuff, we found out one of my aunts had done a history of our grandparents. Roy and Opal Choate. I found out a lot of stuff I did not know. One of the things I found out, my grandfather was actually from Tennessee. Now, if you didn't sleep through history class like I did, because I'll tell you, I had some of the most boring teachers. One guy, the U.S. history guy, I mean, he was just a straight monotone, no change, no inflection, no emotion. It was just one straight, you get the idea. Well, I didn't learn much then, but I have since. Turns out my grandfather was from Tennessee, but this was also during the Great Depression. He came to Georgia, part of a program, if you're familiar with history. If you're not, Wikipedia will tell you, called the Civilian Conservation Corps. It was one of Hoover's projects to try to get people back to work. He was in Georgia working on a project called Fort Mountain State Park. If you're not familiar with Northwest Georgia, if you take 411 up out of Cartersville, keep going straight through, about 20 miles before you hit the Tennessee border, you're going to see signs pointing to the right, and you're going to see a big mountain. That is Fort Mountain. There's an old, fort up there, and they turned it into a state park. Well, it turns out my grandfather was down here working on that when he met Grandma. Well, the job my grandfather had with the CCC was cook. And the CCC was overwatched by the U.S. Army. In this case, the 6th Cavalry. If you're, again, not familiar with Northwest Georgia, find Atlanta on the map and follow I-75 straight up. Right before you hit the Tennessee border, if you look a little to the left, you're going to see a little town called Fort Oglethorpe. That actually was the home of the 6th Cavalry. And the 6th Cavalry has a very, very long history, all the way back to the Civil War. And they were the ones that were in charge of the CCC, based out of Fort Oglethorpe. And if you get a chance, there's a heck of a museum up there you need to check out. I'm going to throw up a link to their site here in a minute so you can check them out, because they not only do a lot of the military reenactments, they've also started doing some of the old school baseball reenactments. So, a great place, check it out. Well, Grandma and Grandpa met while he was working up there. She was up taking care of some family. And, well, it doesn't really go into the nuts and bolts of it, but they ended up getting married. But before they got married, Grandpa decided, well, if he was going to be overseen by the 6th Cavalry while he was cooking for the Civilian Conservation Corps, might as well become an overseer. Or at least that's what I expect. I haven't found the full details yet. Because he decided in August of 1939, if my dates remember correctly, to go ahead and join the Army. So he joined as part of the 6th Cavalry based out of Fort Oglethorpe as a cook. And he worked all the way up to mess sergeant. We have the documentations. So, he must have been doing something right. Which is funny, because if you listen to my uncles, they would tell you, when Grandma wasn't around, Grandpa didn't cook nothing but beans and biscuits. Well, he was an Army cook. So. Anyway. So Grandma and Grandpa got married. December 7th, 1940. Unfortunately, my grandfather never forgot his anniversary. And to be exact, my grandmother, on December 7th, 1941, their first anniversary, was in the process of carrying my dad, who was born not too long after. Well, 6th Cavalry ended up getting moved down to Florida, so, he went down to Florida for a while. Then, during the war, they did have participation, went over to Ireland for training. At that point, he was split off into the 28th Cavalry, one of the little splinter things that they did. If you want more details, I'll put it up later. It's not a problem. We actually have a picture of him. It's not a good one. It's a photocopy, but, sitting in front of, one of the trucks. A couple of, talking about some chickens, a couple of letters he wrote home. Surprisingly enough, most of what he was asking for was, other than a watch band, because his broke, he was having to use baling wire to keep it on his wrist. lighter fluid and things like that. So apparently that was a little hard to come by. But they did go across. They did hit the beaches. It was D-Day plus 35 or something like that. So it was a month after the actual D-Day. I haven't been able to get confirmation, but from looking at the history that was written, pretty sure he was in the Battle of the Bulge because he was in the right area during that time. We know he was wounded. We know he killed a German. Supposedly an officer, but I haven't seen all of the documentation yet. Got a family reunion coming up soon. I'm going to be cornering our family historian, and me and her going to have us a little talk. Because I want to find out more. Finding that out really led me to do a lot of thinking, especially about my love of cooking, my love of rations. It's kind of what helped boost me into going from just doing an occasional written review to actually doing the YouTube videos. So I've decided, along with my ration videos, which I'm not going to stop doing. I love doing those things. They're fun. I love doing the ration videos for y'all. I am going to mix it up a little bit, though. I'm going to try to get some more outside shots. And before I forget, I'm going to throw in a quick note. If you watch my first video, the Spanish video, when I was talking about being up there in that special place, and later on I'll tell you why, that's why. I was probably 10 miles from where Grandma and Grandpa met. So yeah, family history up in the northwest Georgia mountains. Well, I'm going to tell you, I got my hands on something the other day, thanks to a nice website that I'm excited about. Yep, you read that right. Soldier's Field Manual. So pretty much the recipe book for the cooks during World War II. I managed to get my hands on a digital copy. And there's a guy out there with a blog, a chef, and I cannot remember his name right off the bat, but I have been fascinated by what he's doing because he's been doing a lot of reviews of like mess kits and the historical stuff. And he's been looking at the rations, at the actual recipes, the cooking, everything like that. And that helped inspire me, and especially after learning about my grandfather, it really got me to thinking and really got me to looking at it. So when I found that, I started trying to convert some of those recipes over. And I thought to myself, well, I don't need to keep this to myself. So what I'm going to start doing, in addition to my ration videos, I'm actually going to start doing some cooking demos too, using some of the recipes that I'm pulling out of those books. I'm also going to throw some other stuff in there because, like I say, I'm an outdoorsman. I love camping, so I'm going to throw in some of the freeze-dried and dehydrated stuff, a few different recipes here and there. Little things that you're going to enjoy cooking. But I just want to let you know, I really enjoy doing this for y'all. It's a real fun thing to do. I'm actually surprised at how much I do enjoy it. Because I've never been one much for public speaking, but I'm enjoying this. So I'm going to start adding in some of the cooking videos, along with the ration videos. So keep an eye out. You're going to be seeing some different stuff in the future. Well, I've done jawed enough and wasted most of your time. So I'm going to sit out here and enjoy some more of this nice, cool night. Look at the stars. Finish off my cigar. May even go pour me a shot of a certain whiskey. And then it's going to be bedtime for me. So remember, I'm on Facebook now. Facebook.com/theorlando. You can always see updates there and sneak previews of what's coming up. Come by and check it out. Of course, you know about the new YouTube channel if you're watching this. And like I say, if you get a chance, check out some of the other reviewers. Black Dog Bob, Sticky Fingers, Paul. Check them all out. They're awesome. And if there's anybody I forgot, sorry guys. I mean, there's so many of y'all, it's hard to keep track sometimes, but I love watching all the videos and I love making the videos. MRE Hungry, he's got some good stuff out there. Delicious has got some good stuff that he started bringing out. So take a look around, see what's out there. I mean, there's so much popping up. It's great. You know. So well, I'm Orlando. It's a nice, quiet southern night. I'm gonna relax. Y'all have a good one.